everybody. Wanted to turn the sound up a little bit. Welcome. I thought maybe today and maybe next week and the week after, I might look at doing technique videos. So this one is where you whitewash the images and then you can color over them. So we're going to make this one today. This is using an older Stampin' Up! Set called Autumn Harvest. Don't know what year it's from, but it was early on. I bought it. And you'll notice in here, which I do in quite a few of my stamp set, I have my masks. So that, you see how I have this placed behind here? You stamp always what's in the front first. So I stamped this one. Then I put the mask over it, which is simply just, a cutout piece of paper. And then I could stamp the next one. And then if I wanted the squash to overlap, I could put the mask over that and overlap it. And in that way, you don't get, the extra images in there. But if you do that, if you like to use masks, I encourage you just to keep them in the same box so you don't have to make new ones every time. Anyway, I was going to use the new pumpkin that we had, but it was only the one pumpkin image, and I really wanted to have a few across here. All right, so to do this, we are going to start with just a piece of regular, our back base piece is going to be your regular 5.5 by 8.5 inches. Okay, and this is crumb cake, and I like using crumb cake because it's not too dark, but it's dark enough that the technique works on it well. Okay, so then we have, because I wanted to emboss here. All right, so a couple of reasons for doing that. If you just stamp, you can do that. But then when you're coloring, sometimes that kind of messes a little bit with the image. So if you will emboss it, then that the colors that you're going to put on here don't blend with that embossed area. Also, depending on how much water you use, it keeps the color in place so that it doesn't spread out. All right. So we're going to do this. This is going to go on here. And then this one, I might try the rust color behind it. I might even go with the green. I wasn't sure. We'll see what that's going to look like. All right. So you're going to take, if you'll use your reinker, you can, if you don't have a reinker, you can take your white ink pad and just take a brush and put some onto, I always just use a glass block. And then you can use your aqua painter or you can use a regular paintbrush. All right, so I don't have water in my aqua painter this time just because I wanted to be able to really control it. So I'm just adding some water here. Okay, and you don't want it too thick because then it doesn't spread easily, but you don't want it too thin either because then you know how the paper gets kind of worn or thin when you're going over it. And all I'm going to do is just take this white, I'm just going to wash it right on there. And you can see as you come out, it gets lighter and lighter, so you can go back and pick up some more white. Okay, I've seen this technique done a lot on flowers. Like if you have a large flower, like maybe our posies or that magnolia flower, you could probably do it with a poinsettia. Anything like that. The larger images just work better. Okay. Now you can see this is kind of light, so I would definitely go back over it. See, it's really easy to do. And as it dries, it definitely gets lighter. So I wouldn't be afraid of putting too much on here. Even over here, I think I'm going to go back and go over this. This is a fun one to do just because it gives you a little bit of a different look. You know, same inks and everything that you use, but it's going to look a little bit different. Okay. All right, so once you've got that painted, then you're going to want to put that off to the side to dry because it needs to be completely dry before you try to go over it with ink. So I did another one earlier and it's dry now. Okay, so the first thing I did, if you notice on here, I thought the background was still a little stark for me. So I went ahead and took the leaf that's in this set and just did a shadow with the Versamark. So if you do this with Versamark on any color, it just gives you a little bit of a darker image. And I think, you know, sometimes people forget to do that. And this is a very easy background. It doesn't, you know, doesn't take any special technique or anything. Usually we think about using Versamark for embossing, and you can, but this is also, I think it's even called a watermark. Yeah, it's even, this is what we're doing now, is making it like a watermark on here. All right. Okay, so then when I have the card, instead of being just very stark in the background, you can see that that just gives it a little something. It's not blaring in your face or anything. It's just a very subtle background. Okay, so then you're going to take a sponge dauber or a sponge. I don't think I'd try a paintbrush. I think I'd stick with a sponge, and even the blending brushes would probably be too big for most of these. And I'm going to cut this off. I actually did the squash in mango, and I did that first, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Now, when I'm putting this on, I don't want to like drag it because, again, remember, once that paper's been wet, oh good, this will be a little bit darker. The paper's been wet, it will, you know, it'll pull off some of that paper. Oh, that looks much better, I think. Okay, so you see I'm just just tapping on the color. Okay, and because the white is underneath, it makes the color stand out more. If I were just to put the color on there, see what I mean? It doesn't have the same vibrance to me that it does if you put on the white first. Okay, and because the pumpkin pie is just darker than the mango, I'm not going to wash off this. Okay. I'm just going to make the pumpkins a pumpkin color. That makes sense. And you can do shading if you want. You can leave white areas. You know, there's a lot that you can do with this. I like leaving a little bit of a white area because it gives you a sense of light. You know, just makes it look very three-dimensional to me, not a flat look. All right, and this time I think they look a little, this looks a little more orange and that looks a little more mango, so that's nice. I think I've still got some mango over on this side, but that's okay too. I like the different colors in there. Okay, and then for my leaf, I actually did Cajun Craze, although it looks very pinkish there to me. So let's see. Yeah, see, it still looks less rust color and more like a cherry cobbler or a merlot or something. That was interesting, but it's still a good color for a fall leaf, so I left that on there. And then I just took a little bit of green on stems, just as kind of more of a contrast. Now you can see the colors on this one. I've done a little bit darker than on the colors on that one. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's fine either way. It's just a personal preference. I'm just putting a little bit of green on there to have it. Now I've added a little bit of green here and to the both sides last time, but I'm not going to do that this time. Okay, so then I'm just going to fold my base in half. Again, that's just 5.5 by 8.5. Oh, I already folded a base, didn't I? Oh, that's okay. I'll use this for the other one. I'm going to use the Pear Pizzazz as the background on this and see if I can't pick up that green a little more. Since there's an awful lot of orange and mango colors in here, I think the green might give it just a little bit more contrast. Now you can do this on black or navy or, mossy metal. You can do it on a very dark color, but to me, I don't like it as well as I do just on the crumb cake, which is to me a very neutral color. I think that came out nice. And see, it does pick up the green a little bit more. So once this one is dry, I'm going to do the same thing. So I will have 3 Thanksgiving cards, which is nice. And you can see that depending on what colors you use here, you can use that for the mat. So I'm just gone on a quarter of an inch. So the green or the orange is 5.25 by 4, and then the other piece of crumb cake on the inside is 5 by 3.75. So I hope you might try the whitewash with the addition of some color and make some cards. Hope you have a great day. Bye.